Okay, good afternoon. This is Ms. Marshall, Judge Barrie's Judicial Case Manager. This is a final hearing on Thomas Way versus Way. This is an official court proceeding. This is a public proceeding. These hearings are streaming live on YouTube. The YouTube link, Zoom link, and password are available on the court's webpage. I need all videos open, please. Because these are official court proceedings, you must adhere to and abide by professional courtroom decorum. So that means no smoking, no eating, no drinking, no driving. Can't be at the dentist's office, can't be at the doctor's office. No lying in bed. Please find a place where you're comfortable, be seated and be still. And please be mindful of your background noise and your background environment. This is Division 10 with the Honorable Tangela Barrie presiding.
All right. Let's see. Hello, everyone. Sorry, there we go. Collar's out. All right. Good afternoon, everyone. This is the matter of Way versus Thomas 22 FM 8002. This is the final resolution of this case. One of the things that I wanted to do before making the final decision was to have a guardian ad litem so that we can get an understanding of what it would be the best way of handling this matter. Looks like we have Ms. Schumann with us. The guardian ad litem, Ms. Holloway is here on behalf of Mr. Way, and Ms. Thomas Way is appearing pro se. All right. So let's go ahead and get started with that. Ms. Schumann, I would like to hear from you. Do you raise, excuse me, I was going to swear you in, but you're an officer of the court. So if you may proceed.
Okay. So Your Honor, I actually, excuse me, just because of our schedules, I was able to coordinate going to see each girl, but I did go see them last night. But I had lengthy discussions with each child. So let me start with Dad. I went to Dad's mother's house, Miss Melanie, and I'm so sorry, I don't have Dad's mother's last name. But I went over to her house to meet Kaylee, the older daughter. And Kaylee was there, and Dad and Grandma Melanie. And then I spent about an hour there, and then I spent about an hour at Mom's house, and Tanisha was there with Sharia, the youngest. Okay, and I should have said this to start. The older child is about to start high school. She will be a freshman. She is 14 years old. Their younger child is 11 years old. Both of these children, Your Honor, are extremely bright. And I know that a lot of guardians say that about children, but their younger daughter, Sharia, is very gifted with arts and enjoys science. And I think that's important for the court to understand that. And Kaylee is exceptionally smart, A's and B's in school. And both of these children fully understand what is happening with this divorce. And the summary, and I'll answer any questions, obviously, but just to be summarizing, the summary is that these children do not want to do split parenting. They do not want to live in separate homes. The girls miss being together. They do want to be together. And they both would, in my opinion, be best suited to be living with Mom because of the issues that are going between Dad and Kaylee. Like it's impossible to place the girls with Dad. And I'll go into detail why, but it's just on a practical level. And I think the court addressed it in the last hearing, but it's not going to work. And the younger daughter does not want to be living separate, from her mom and her sister. And Kaylee really wants to be able to go home. And one of the things that we had discussed in this case was, and because we are live, if the court needs me to expand, I'm going to be kind of general first, just because this is public and I don't want to disclose the child's like medical stuff, but
If there's anything that you want the court to know today medically, we can go into a breakout room, and that way we'll take ourselves out of Zoom. I can bring everybody else into that Zoom too.
I think that would be good, because I don't want to put her medical stuff.
Ms. Marshall, how many people can go into a Zoom room? Is there any number?
Not that I've ever come across, Your Honor.
Okay, place all of us into a Zoom room.
Okay. Ms. Holloway, this is Ms. Marshall. Ms. Marshall, did you accidentally get kicked out of the breakout room, or is everyone coming back?
No, I got kicked out. The power went out, so the internet went out. So I'm on my phone now. So I think they're still there.
I'm moving you over now.
All rise. Superior Court of DeKalb County in session. The Honorable Judge Tangela Barrie presiding.
All right, thank you very much. Please be seated. All right, then. Good afternoon, everyone. So today we have our regular drug court, and we also have intake. And so the court finds it to be, well, I think that when we have intakes, it's really important for you all to have an opportunity to kind of watch and see how we do drug court. So you at least have that consideration in your final decision about joining drug court. I think that you will find that this is an excellent program, one which will change lives. The only thing that we ask of you is for you to have a desire for your life to be changed. And I think you will find that there is a lot of benefit to the program, both, with regard to how you feel about yourself, the relationships that you have with others, and your give back to the community, to be a member of society who is, giving back and benefiting, and then you, of course, gaining the benefits of giving, right? So I think if you'll see as we kind of go through the process today with those who are a part of it, that there is benefits. Now, there are parts of the program where we have rules in place, and those rules are in place to ensure that you maximize and be able to come out of this program change. And so we do have rules, and if you violate those rules, there are sanctions for doing so. But we try to explain to you what we're doing, how we're doing it, and why we're doing it in that fashion. And so there are going to be learning experiences that you'll have, but for the most part, I want you to really understand the value of what you're getting. So let's start with Mr. Odum. So Mr. Odum, as he's coming up, he's in phase 3. He's been in the program 119 days. Well, good afternoon, Mr. Odum. How are things going? I'm doing fine. I understand that you are continuing to do well, as you have been for quite some time, making progress with regard to your treatment, continuing to be involved, finishing or you're currently enrolled in Prime for Life Relapse Prevention and MRT, and you're on step one. You're on step one of presenting testimony and effects of how the process has had an effect on your family and peers. All right, so in light of the fact that that is what you're doing, the question I have for you is, what effect has your substance use had on your family and peers?
Devastating is probably the best word for it.
Devastating.
Devastating.
Tell me why you use that word.
Because it seems to continue to evolve. Well, my discovery of how I have affected the people around me. So, a lot of mistrust, a lot of dishonesty, disingenuousness, I mean, there's nothing positive, so it's pretty devastating.
So how does that make you feel? Like, what do you want them to see, or what do you want them to gain
Well,
from your relationship with them?
the only thing living life in retrospect is a no-go.
Mhm.
It's not that I don't consider the past, when I say that, for me, it's best if I resolve those feelings, or resolve the issues, and not contemplate or dwell on the feelings related to that past issue. It's not to say that I am not feeling or not considering other people. It's just that for me, it's best if I don't harp on that, on the way that I feel. It's like, I feel terrible. I feel terrible, devastated.
I guess what I'm asking is, though, how it makes them feel, and this whole feeling that you used the word devastating. What I mean is, what do you want to come of your relationship with those who at this point did not trust you, or how do you want them to see you? Do you feel like you're kind of progressing towards how you want them to feel or treat you, or how do you handle that?
Well, I want for my past relationships, now current, to move in a positive direction.
Right.
Um,
Do you feel like you're gaining that? As you're matriculating through the program, and I guess some people might know you're doing the program, have they seen a change? And do you feel like you are gaining that feeling that you kind of want or is hoping for?
well, I can only go by my present actions. The past would indicate that this is only temporary.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so I can't rely upon that. And I can't consider it in that manner, because, I don't want to look back, not to say that I am not acknowledging that, or that I am choosing to forget that, or I'm not considering that. But I'm moving forward. I try to put my best foot forward. I try to be as honest and upfront, in a sense that I want people to have a better understanding of what substance use disorder looks like, what it really is to an individual. Not to make excuses for my behavior, my actions, but just so that everyone has a better understanding. It's like, yeah.
So, one of the things that we were talking about last week was the job, that you needed to get a job, and that you kind of had to be more, not kind of, but that you needed to be more serious about your progress. And I understand this week you turned in 3 names as well. Well, last week we were concerned because 3 was very limited, particularly with the ability to go online and search for jobs. But then again, this week you turned in 3 again. So tell me, what are we missing, and why are you satisfied with 3 a week?
So, Judge Barrie, I anticipated your reaction, and I actually turned in 5.
Okay.
And that was that was in consideration that we were in each other's company last Thursday via Zoom.
Mhm.
And so that left Friday, and Monday I had to submit the form. Otherwise, I would have been sanctioned again. So the number of days that have passed since I had to submit the form would limit the number of searches, the number of places that I have applied for.
So while that logic I get would make a lot of sense if you were not under fire, I don't know if it does if you're under fire. Because for me, if I had known that the judge was dissatisfied with that number, and I know I have Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, and you're doing it online, I know you can get more than 5 done online. You could probably, do that relatively in a short amount of time. So to me, if you're playing logic, you might say, oh, just Friday. I'm not going to count the weekend. Nobody works on the weekends who can make hiring decisions. Sure, you can make that logic, but it really doesn't play well because we all know you're doing it online, and you can do online and search online and submit applications online without regard to the head honcho looking at it and making decisions. Now, if I told you to go out and get hand signatures on people that you did interview that was willing to accept your application, or someone that you were speaking with, that may make sense because a lot of people who have the authority to hire may not work on the weekend, and that would make sense. But this is an online inquiry, and I think for online inquiries, you could have come up with more than that. And so then it tells me again that you got to take this more seriously. So to help you, I'm going to say you have to have at least 10, okay? At a minimum 10, because we need to get this job, and I wanted you to take it seriously. So I want you to have at least 10 the next time you turn that paper in, okay?
Okay.
All right. So that we can get you where you're going, and I want to see that you're taking this seriously. If you have more than 10, great, but you need to have at least 10, okay? And it looks like whatever your door issue was must have been fixed because they did a home visit and everything checked out well. So that's good. All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Odum. So that everyone knows, Mr. Shellcross has been in the program for 73 days. He's in phase 1. And so how things going with you, Mr. Shellcross?
Going well.
All right. I think that is the sentiment across the board, that you're engaging more and more as you're are acclimating to the program, which is good. You're not in your corner. You don't have your softball to yourself and not playing with others. You are at least throwing about the room, which is good.
Right.
And let's see, you begun the intake process with CSB. Attending your self-health meeting. I think we talked about that last week as well. And has completed your relapse prevention plan. Okay, so my question then is, what is one way to change the outcome when faced with anxiety about a situation?
So with the anxiety comes with a lot of negative self-talk, I guess. And so I think it's thinking about, instead of thinking about thinking of things negatively, like why did I deserve this, or why, what that because I disagree with something that means it's not good for me, and that I have to put my trust in other people. But I guess it's more thinking positively, that thinking everything that I come across, even if it's challenging or even if it's something I don't like, at least in this situation here where it's safe to say that it's probably for my best interest. So to kind of find something positive in what I'm being anxious about, I guess. turning my negative self-talk into positive self-talk, I guess.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do y'all have like, I know generally, do you have any classes regarding how to do that?
I'm in CBI right
Okay.
now. Yeah.
CBI does that. Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. Let's see. Case manager. Okay, good. So last week when we had those issues, we were with regard to you making sure you're investing into the program and doing what you're supposed to do and not kind of getting relaxed. We indicated, or at least I indicated, you had to report at 8:30, and I understand that you're doing that. You're on time, and it looks like you're more engaged in those programs. So thank you very much. That's the positive thing that I was looking for. So I appreciate it. Let's give him a round of applause for that. Seriously. Thank you. I appreciate you doing that.
Yeah.
All right. So you got your ID, you got your social security card. No, you got your birth certificate.
Yeah.
Working on your ID and getting your social security card so we can
Right.
get you working.
Correct.
I'm glad that's coming through. And it looks like your house check is good as well.
Okay.
So you're on the money. Thank you, Mr.
Great.
Cross.
Thank you, Judge.
Shellcross. So Mr. Shaw is in phase 2. He's been in phase 2, 230 days. And I've always said the thing I like about Mr. Shaw is that he's really real about his responses. He's gonna really tell you like it is. So if y'all want to talk to somebody, tell him like it is, you talk to Mr. Shaw. So I do appreciate that. So I think initially, Mr. Shaw, you're working on a gratitude journal. At one point, now generally, I think everything is doing well in your treatment. Showing great improvement in overall thinking, showing great improvement in behavioral patterns. And so you just pretty much had a good week therapeutically. So tell me, what are you most grateful for this week?
I think I'm most grateful for my counselor.
Okay,
Ms.
tell me about
McCurkin,
that.
Because I don't think I would have made it this far without him.
Okay. So, like I told you before, I'm glad to see that you are, making these great improvements in your overall thinking, because I know you had, you were kind of had some issues where you're kind of doubting the sanity of being in a position where people want you to live this everyday life where you got stress to figure out how you're going to pay your bills and how you interact with people and making sure you do all the things right, playing by the rules, attend classes on time, get to work on time, making sure your bills are paid. Like, this life, it ain't easy, right? And so I know you had some, kind of nervous about it, but you understood the benefits of that too. And so I'm glad that you, are still at it and doing what you're supposed to do. And so being thankful for your counselor, that's a really positive thing, because it tells me that you understand the benefits and that you want those benefits. And so being thankful for your counselor, that's a big deal. And so I wish he was here to hear you say that, but I'm sure he probably knows.
He knows.
All right. Now, you had a hiccup this week. Tell me what you think that hiccup was.
I was instructed to get rid of some of the extra clothes that I had, because I was told I had too many.
Mm-hmm.
So I found out my brother just entered rehab, and he basically has no clothes.
Where's your brother in rehab at?
In North Carolina.
North Carolina, okay. That's the area you're from?
No, that's where my family moved to.
Okay.
I was going to ship him the clothes, some extra clothes and shoes, but my sister said she was going to be in town that weekend. So she said, instead of spending money to ship the clothes, I'll just come by when I head back out, and I can save you a few dollars. I can just I can just drop by, pick them up.
Okay.
And that's what she did. She called me when she pulled up. I brought the clothes out, I put them in the car, gave her a kiss. And she said, no.
No, what's wrong with doing, what's the issue with what happened? What do you understand to be the issue?
I was told that we weren't supposed to disclose our location.
You're not supposed to have people come to that location for you, right?
Right.
And someone did come, which means that you violated a rule. I just want to know, do you know that you were violating the rule?
I thought that we couldn't be dropped off or picked up there.
Okay. But why do you think that was the rule? Did you think through that?
No.
Okay. So
I just thought it would be okay for her to pick up the clothes and that would be it. Because I was told that I had to get rid of them some kind of way. So I thought the best way to do it was to give it to somebody who needed it. And that's my brother.
but you understand that that is a rule, that they don't want you to have people coming to the residency, right?
I know now.
I thought you understood that to be the rule before now.
What I thought was we couldn't be picked up or dropped off.
Okay. But you didn't think that's the reason why, like the idea was that you didn't want to compromise where you were staying or where other people, particularly in the program, were staying and that they were in that program with you. Basically, it's to protect to give a certain amount of security and protection for the participants. Did you understand that to be the reason for that rule?
I see.
Okay. And so there was a violation of that rule. And here's the thing. I don't know if you're aware, but that rule is so particular and so, because it's dealing with security and safety, it's one of those violations that when you violate it, the sanction is custody. Were you aware of that?
No.
All right. So because of that rule, and if you violate it, usually you have to go into custody because it is one of those rules that we just do not allow it to be violated. Now, the funny part about it, as I understand your position is that it's violated quite often, and that you have seen people violate that rule. That's what I'm told. Is that correct?
Yes.
And so we do need to stress to everyone that you can't violate that rule because you cannot have other people come to that residency because you're violating other people's right for privacy and also the security of that facility or that place. Do you understand that now? All right. So when I heard that you had violated, I was like, okay, oh my goodness. I hate that for you because I knew you were on the cusp of phasing up and you have been doing so well with regard to the program. And we were like at that breakthrough process where you're excelling and you don't want this hiccup to kind of throw you off too much. So I'm not going to sanction you. I don't know where that's coming from, but okay. I am not going to sanction you to jail. I think everybody is on board with that because we want you to continue to excel. We understand that was a hiccup, but I want you to also be mindful of, and I'm stressing to everyone else as well, that that is a rule that we take very seriously and you cannot do that, okay? And instead of jail, though, it is still a sanction because it's one of those ones that we cannot overlook. It's not one of the ones where you and I can go, oh, well, I'm going to do something else. I do have to call it a sanction. And so, but I will do community service. I'm going to do 16 hours of community service. Generally, that will prevent you from phasing up for 30 days. But like I said, we all talked about how well you are doing in the program. We want you to continue to do well. We want you to continue to do the things that you've been doing. And so instead of the 30-day to prevent you from phasing up, we're going to do 2 weeks instead, okay? And so I don't want this to be considered necessarily a break, like from what I'm doing. I want you to understand that I'm doing it because you're doing well. Do you understand? So I know it doesn't feel as perfect because you're like, I'm still not going to phase up. But it also tells us it's also a way of getting the sanction, but also being mindful that I don't want you to have despair. I want you to realize that we know you're doing well, but this is one of those things wherein a sanction is required. Okay. So we're going to figure this out. You got to stay positive. You're going to stay positive for me? I need to hear you say it.
Yeah.
All right. All right. Stay positive, Mr. Shaw. Okay. All right. Take care. All right. So that is essentially how the program works. I have an opportunity to talk with staff. We go over what is going on with you. We figure it out, and we do this in person or via Zoom. I try my best to do them in person. Sometimes we'll do them in Zoom, but we'll at least have one time a month where we definitely are in person. And if not, then and if not both times that we meet in person, at least one will be in person and one via Zoom. But it is my desire to do it that way. Also, I generally share this program with Judge Johnson, so I'll be here for 4 months. Then she takes over 4 months. I'm not sure how long we're going to be doing that, or if something will be done differently, but it's likely you'll see myself and Judge Courtney Johnson participating in this track. Now, I'm not sure if y'all are in this track or if I'm taking the whole, just doing intake. One will be in this track. Okay, so one of you will be in track two, which is the track I'm under, and then Judge Dear Jackson. Is Judge Dear Jackson still doing that track one by herself? Hydrick is doing it. Okay, so Judge Hydrick is doing that track. All right, so and the other two of you will be with Judge Hydrick. All right, so they're
going to be brought over tomorrow to watch the graduations as well.
Oh, okay, good. All right, that's good. All right, so let's go ahead and do our intake. Can I, who we're going to call up first? All right, come forward.
2830, he's charging a 2-count accusation with possession of a Schedule 4 controlled substance and criminal trespass. At this case going to trial, the state would expect the evidence to show that on July the 13th, law enforcement responded to DeKalb County, Georgia, a reference to a criminal trespass call upon review of the property manager, noticing that 2 people had broken into a vacant apartment and had stayed without permission. When officer arrived, the 2 individuals were identified as Dion Howard and Khalees Stevenson. There were book bags that were with them that were not both. That there was book bags in there and not belonging to the property manager of the apartment. When they searched the book bag, there was a total of Xanax pill and other pills discovered. Howard claimed that the other pills that was in there were bars, and that neither individual claimed that there was a firearm within his location, but neither one of them claimed. However, they wasn't charged with that. And from my understanding, Your Honor, Mr. Howard has some concerns, and he would like to take this plea on an effort, which the state have no objection, but he did say that he wanted treatment and he needed help. And so therefore the state was going to offer this program to him with the question.
I don't understand how we're doing Alfred if he wishes to participate.
He still can plea under Alfred, Your Honor.
Okay.
And he can be sentenced under Alfred with a suspended sentence. And from my understanding, he still can do that.
Okay.
And Your Honor, part of the reason for that negotiation is there were some questions regarding the evidence. In the sense that some of the pills were consumed by the co-defendant while in the police officer's car using the officer's coffee. And so there's a question as to what pills remain, but it is in Mr. Howard's best interest to enter into this program. So that is what he's elected to do. And he will be entering that guilty plea today, Your Honor.
Under Alfred.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. All right then. And I can't recall now, it's been a minute. Do we go over that first or we do the contract first?
We do the plea colloquy, Your Honor, and then after the plea colloquy, I will discuss the contract consent order
All right,
and,
all right,
yes, ma'am.
all right. We can go ahead and get started.
Okay. Are you the same person charging the bus style case?
I am.
Hold on one second. Ms. Marshall, are you with me? Oh, you could, I think you have YouTube on. You could take YouTube off. We're in open court.